Hi, everyone. Welcome to the starchlady.com. I am so excited to have two of my favorite starch solution people here with me today. I've got Melanie Boorse, I always say that wrong, and Debbie Day, both my Canadian friends, and they are the queens of the Mary's Mini. Oh my goodness. If you want to do Mary's Mini, go to the Facebook group, Mary's Mini, and in parentheses, it says non-militant. So they are not there with sledgehammers to beat you over the head if you get off track. They are 199% absolute, nothing but support. And they are the motivation for me doing this 2-month duration Mary's Mini that I'm on right now. And they are absolutely fantastic. If you go back in my YouTube channel, Health Natural Solutions, just Health Natural Solutions squished together on YouTube, you'll see their individual interviews as well. And I will post them in the link below. So I am super excited to have them here and together. Imagine what we can do with that. So I'm going to let them tell their stories and we're going to go from there. So why don't we start with Melanie up on my top left there and give me the synopsis of how this all started, what got you on Starch Solution and what people really want to hear about, because you both are so gorgeous. Where did you start? Were you always this slim and trim and, you know, all that fun stuff? So we're going to go in and look at some before and after pictures in a minute too, but let's get this going here. But go ahead, tell us your deal, your story.
So for me, it started 6 years ago. I still can't to this day recall where I heard the word starch solution. I don't know who it was, where it was, I don't know, but I just remember saying, like, I need to look this up. I need to look up starch solution. So finally, when I did, I come across, it was a YouTube video of Dr. McDougall giving a speech about the starch solution, where he talked about cultures throughout history surviving on the starches, the gladiator men, the gladiators being the barley men, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Anyways, I watched it that night and I was like blown away. And when my husband got home after work, I told him about it and I'm like, we need to watch this again. So I watched it that night with him. And we both like looked at each other and were like, this is it. This is the answer. And I said to him, I just said, like, don't ever let me walk away from this, because I know in my heart that this is the right way. And we basically started like the very next day. So fast forward 6 years, I've lost like 75 pounds in and around there. I still, to this day, have my ups and downs, have not been 100% perfect. But
when is the biggest downfall? When do you have what is your biggest trip? What triggers that?
Well, I'm going to say partly probably because of convenience. And the other part, I think, is just to feel like, how do I explain this? Like, not that I'm not a part of society, but I want to be, I still want those times that we've had previously. I still want to be able to go out and enjoy good food and company and just that whole like ambiance of a restaurant and stuff like that. So I think like both of them coupled together, yeah, it's a thing. And I think it's a thing for a lot of people.
So it's when you're out, like with my husband, we had to, you know, when I told him we were going to do this, especially since he's retired, and I said, you know, this is the way it's going to be. There's going to be no meat, no dairy or oil in the house. If you want it, you have to go out and get it. So date nights have become more frequent, you know, because he wants to go out. But it's like once every 2 weeks. It's not every day, every meal that a bad choices make, because it's not in the house to make.
That's right.
We, with the move and stuff, we were eating out more. So I totally get that. Okay, perfect. Next.
You want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, tell us more.
Yeah, we don't do it every day either. Not even close. I think there's also certain times of the year. So now that we're starting to warm up and summer's coming, things are going to change a little bit again. And if I'm being completely honest, there's probably going to be a few extra times in there that we splurge a little bit on other things that are off plan. I mean, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't know if that's just an us thing or that's an everybody thing, but
I would agree, wouldn't you, Debbie? That's an everybody thing. Oh yeah, there's more barbecues to navigate. There's you can only eat so much potato salad and it's still going to have mayo and egg in it. You know, those hot dogs smell amazing. You know, and it's that smoke flavor. That's why I love my smoked onions now.
Well, exactly.
You know, that's what you're looking for.
As far as we go, so like at the same time as finding the starch solution, that was the same time that I vowed to like not eat animal foods anymore. So that's not been an issue whatsoever.
Good.
But with that said, even our splurges are they're not healthy. They have oil in them, or they're high fat, like nuts and seeds and stuff like that. It's not or not weight loss promoting foods,
right?
You know, so which can cause setbacks as well. So, you know, that's always, I think, it's not a huge issue. Like I know how to lose it. I can lose it like that. If I want to lose it and I want to be like laser focused, I know what to do. But I also want to be realistic.
Yeah.
Totally.
We have a Cajun restaurant that one of our clients owns, and you know, you got clients that own restaurants, you gotta frequent. You know, they're using your business, and you know, our water systems are there. You know, our alkaline water systems are there, so we have to go there and service them. So we're not gonna we can't eat here because this is disgusting. You've got a pot full of crabs over there. You know, I'm not gonna do that. But they have this thing called Cajun Crack. That is no joke what it's called. And it is seeds and nuts, all minced super fine and held together and mixed together with spices and jam. Okay. And you eat it normally they eat it with crackers, but I can't do anything gluten. So they always bring me a plate full of diced up little pieces of celery that, girl, I eat my own. You know, but it's seeds and nuts and jam, and you know, it's not even the good jam, you know. But it is. I know why they call it crack, because we went very polite the first time, and we were all going to share one. It was gone in like 3 seconds. Yeah, I mean, it was gone. And so then we ordered a second one, and our guest hadn't even showed up yet. And so we ended up getting 3, and they were gone. And then when they got there, go, oh, well, let's order this appetizer here called Cajun Crack. So out came number 4.
Oh my God.
I get it. I totally get it. Yeah. But that is a rare, you know, once a year thing, or twice a year. It's a restaurant. We change their filters twice a year. So if I had that twice a year, I'm not going to kill myself over it, but I got it out of my system. I don't have to eat a full tray next time, but because it's crack, it is going to be a harder thing to deny, right? So, well, Debbie, tell me about you. Where did you start? How did you get here? How did you meet this lovely lady? I thought y'all were like in the same town. I've seen you together on Facebook, so you do hook up and meet together and do things. That is amazing. I love that kind of friendship. So tell me about the friendship. Tell me about how this all happened.
Well, we actually met on, it was Instagram, right? Yeah, I reached out because I loved everything she was posting, and I don't know, we just clicked so quickly, and we just became like the best of friends. I mean, I've gone to Alberta. I'm going back in 3 weeks?
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to stay for about 6 weeks, and
I'm going to get my passport and come up there and play with y'all. I can put a water system in at the same time if you want, but I'm going to come up there. I want to be part of that playground.
So with me, weight loss has always been my journey since I was about 13 years old. Up and down, yo. I've been on every single diet known to man. Then I went plant-based in 2012, up and down. And then in 2019 was the last time I had any kind of meat.
2019?
Yeah, I was in Mexico. It was our last night in Mexico, and I had mahi mahi. First time I ever had it, and it was so good. But had chocolate cake too, if I'm being honest. That was the last time I had meat, and then I went fully vegan, I guess you'd call it. And then I don't know. I don't also know where I heard of the Start Solution either. First, I think I was watching a lot of YouTube, and maybe I came across High Carb Hannah. That's probably where I first heard of it.
Are you old enough on YouTube to remember High Carb Hannah started out eating bananas?
Yes.
30 bananas a day. The woman lived on bananas for weeks, which is so not healthy, but that's how she started. And it was, and I had completely stopped watching her because of that. And then when I saw her one day, she's holding up some, lentil meatloaf, and I went, what? And I had her back. I mean, I love her, much healthier now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then I just hearing about the Start Solution, it's like potatoes are like my middle name. Why wouldn't I want to try this?
Right.
And I find like no problem really with it. I do have my ups and downs even now. Like I did that 100-day mini.
You did. What was your start and end on that? How did that work for 100 days? I'm going 60, and I'm thinking she did like almost double that. How's that work?
Can't remember. I think like how much weight I lost in the 100 days?
Yeah.
I think it's about 14, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
Yeah. But it was great. But since then, I've started, I get together with some people that I call my eatin' friends. My family, they all love restaurants. They all love horribly bad things. And so I've been eating a lot of fast food lately, still, plant-based, but very oily. And so as of Sunday, I'm now back to full Start Solution and already feeling better. The fat is now like leaching out of my body in all the horrible ways.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, how much, Mel, did I gain in that month? Was it 12 pounds or something? 12 pounds in a month I gained from doing that. So yeah, back on track now.
Yeah, I hear that. It's hard. Eating out the oil is the biggest issue. It really is. And there is no oil that's good for us. I love listening to Caldwell Esselstyn. If you watched his video where he talks about, he's standing on a stage with probably 4,000 people, and he's like going, no oil, no oil, no oil. And he's a cardiovascular surgeon. The man would know, you know what I mean? And for him to take his career the last 40 years to a point of insisting that his patients follow the protocol before he will consider doing their surgery. And that's only if they totally are non-compliant and there's no other choice. They're going to die if they don't have this correction. And if they're not going to correct it themselves, then they have to have the surgery. And I have so much respect for him for doing that. And, my specialty, I don't know if you guys remember, but my specialty is blood. And so my life is a microscopic world. And so let me get a picture here for you. You can see here, for example, can you see this?
Yep.
So you see all these mutations and things like that. I mean, there's a bunch of yeast and bacteria, but there's mutation. There's even a parasite over there. The shells are not round. This, crystal here does not belong. The red blood cells should be the back of your hand. It should be just red with black lines running through it. And if you were to see this up close, it looks like spackle on your wall.
Yeah.
Like you could take a plane and scrape it off and use it for mayonnaise or something. This woman had what is known as multiple myeloma, which is considered a blood protein disease that is uncurable. That's what I've been told. And I went as an advocate to her oncology appointment, And they had me come in because they want to know what she was doing, because her 6,500 numbers had dropped to 45 and then 22, and she was getting better. And they said, that's impossible. And so this is her, okay, when I first met her. Here's her blood, literally 2 weeks after changing to this way of eating.
Wow.
Now look, there's the red, there's the black lines I was looking for. There's still a couple little white ones here from her adrenal stresses and things like that. These little white petals, but you don't see the spackle raised up. And look, individual cells here versus the mutated cells. Now, which one would you rather have making your tissue and organs?
Yeah.
When I met her here, she was told that she had less than 90 days to live and was going to go into hospice.
Wow.
And she looked like somebody had run over with a truck, and she had no hope left in her face. When we went to that oncology appointment a couple months later, after her numbers had dropped so drastically down to like 2,200, and they insisted that I come in and explain myself, we were laughing the entire way there. We were laughing and giggling and just carrying on. And we get to the oncologist's office, and she literally, you know, those little round chairs with wheels at the doctor's office. As soon as I started mentioning that she was drinking my alkaline antioxidant water every 2 hours to flush her insides and keep it rinse clean, like washing your hands after going to the bathroom. I tell people, go to the bathroom, wash your hands, get a drink. Go to the bathroom, wash your hands, get a drink. And so she was doing that, and then eating this whole food plant way of eating. And as soon as I said that, it was like a brick wall went between me and
yeah. Yeah.
And she scooted on that little round chair and got right up in her face and said, lady, you're dying. There is nothing you can do about it. And there's not a vegetable she can feed you that is going to get you better. You need to start chemo and radiation today. Every day you delay is a problem. That was exactly what she said. And here's my laughing, joking client that would now become buddies. You know, she's loving me, I'm loving her. Her face, it just went from joyful to that absence of emotion. I scooped her up, her little skinny self. I scooped her up, and out the door we went. I say skinny self because she had lost in about that first 5 months or so, she'd lost about 70 pounds, you know, by going whole food plant-based. So I scooped her up, and we're going out the door, ignoring the doctor. The doctor's yelling at us. We're ignoring that witch, you know, and I'm going past the front desk, and the nurse hands her a pile of papers. And on the top of that pile of papers, and I got to find it in her file, it's a list of approved foods for cancer patients. Top of the list, girls, beanie weenies in a can. Yes. Yogurt and ice cream. Ensure, which is like this many ingredients you cannot pronounce. I mean, this is the list of foods they're giving her. And she's looked like death warmed over. And in the parking lot, I got 3 minutes to get her smile back on her face. Guess how I got it back on her face? I said we were going to find which one of those cars that witch drove. We're going to find out where she lives, and we're going to burn both of those damn things down.
Yeah.
I started talking about blowing up people's houses. Started laughing, and then she starts chiming in. Yeah, we're going to cut down all of her trees and use it for firewood when we do it. So I had 3 minutes to get that joy back into her life again. We went out to a Mediterranean restaurant that was close by. It was a buffet. So, you know, at Mediterranean restaurants, you're going to get all kinds of oil and stuff, but they have a lot of good choices. They have the vegetables. They had the little falafels that might be a little bit oily, but they have, they do it with, like I do mine, it has like hemp hearts instead of the wheat and the parsley and stuff like that. So it was a little bit oily on that side, but there was a lot of other choices we could get in the vegetable soups and stuff. We loaded her up with a bunch of the containers that they weigh at the counter and take, you know, you can take home with you. We loaded her up with a bunch of those, and we went home. We had another party with her family. Here's another one here. A gentleman on part of a study I did in 2011. He's part of Overeaters Anonymous, weighed over 400 pounds. And all of his blood cells are showing excessive protein damage, where the negative polarity burns off the cells and sticks together like glue, a bunch of yeast and bacteria in the background. Here's his blood 7 days later. Not perfect, but again, which one would you rather have making your tissue and organs and carrying oxygen from the door? You can't carry oxygen with this. Out of breath, tired all the time, because that can't get the oxygen from head to toe once every 3 minutes. It just can't, you know? So I totally get that. One last one I'll show you. This one here is protein damage. And look, do you see the spike proteins?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been filming spike proteins for 13, 14 years now, and they've been taking images of them since the 1500s when the microscope was invented. It shows up on anybody who has an over-acidic diet or high sugar diet. So like, you know, somebody who has sugar issues or high acid content, coffee drinkers. We see this a lot in coffee drinkers, and a bunch of yeast and bacteria there, okay? Where are my red lines, or red with black lines here? They don't exist. So these polymerized protein petals here indicate to me somebody who's got colon issues. Not a good sign. All right. So here, what does he look like 30 days later? This one. Now, which would you rather have, making the tissue and organs? You see what I'm saying? So in my microscopic world, I know that whenever I eat something that's off plan, it's going to cause damage. And I tell people there is no such thing as a cheat day, because whatever you put in your mouth to eat or drink or even put on your skin is going to get into your bloodstream. Now, if that blood that's formed in that bloodstream is the one carrying oxygen from head to toe, you're stuck with that cheat result for 120 days, the life of the blood cells. If you were to have that blood become your skin, that you lose a layer every 7 days. If it were to become your liver, you old cells die off and new cells are made, and you get a new liver every 7 months. If it's damaged, it might take 14 to 24, okay, or 28. But your brain every 2 years, your eyeballs every 2 years, and so on and so forth. So there is no such as a cheat day, because whatever you put in that was bad is going to stick with you for the duration of wherever it ends up forming inside your body, that whatever tissue and organ that it's forming. And so whenever we do make a cheat conscious effort, we go, that's an adult decision and it was a choice. You know, we're making it and we know what it's going to do, and we either live with it or we skip over it because it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's kind of the world that I live in. And when I started this Starch Solution thing, I'd already lost some weight, about 30 pounds. So I started Starch Solution at 250, and I'd been 280 was my all-time high. And then getting involved, I'm down now to 221, and I'm working my way down from there. I want to weigh about 130, 140. I think for my height, that would be a good goal for me. And I look pretty dang good, if I do say so myself, at that weight, you know.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'4" and 3/4, you know.
Okay.
So about 5'5". And I've seen some people that have lost weight too fast, and I knew I didn't want to lose too fast, because they go from looking their age to old. Yeah. Have you noticed that? And everything's just, you know, they age themselves 30 years because they lost it too fast. I think the way that we're doing it is right. We're losing the, 2 pounds a week, 3 pounds if we're lucky, and it's taking
natural,
a little bit more natural, a little bit of flux and wave there, just a little bit. But, what would you suggest to our brand new people? What's the first thing you do to get somebody started on the Mary's Mini for a jump start, if they're already in the program, or if they want to jump start just getting started? What would you suggest?
Keep when you're just first starting, keeping it simple. Us, we've been at this how many times, so we try to get more creative because we've been there, done that. But at the beginning, keeping it as simple as possible, because you don't want to stress yourself out. You're already doing a new thing, it's a new way, and adding anything extra is going to deter you from doing it. So I would keep it as simple as possible. Steamed potatoes, mashed potatoes, boiled potatoes, microwave potato. I don't care what kind of potato, but just basic and your vegetables, whatever that looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed this last week because I was when I did it last time, I still had a couple of days of rice and pasta in there because I was still cooking for the family and I was too exhausted to do both. But I noticed this week being so, on track with the potatoes and stuff that I didn't overeat, which was the goal, I wasn't going back for seconds because it was a potato. Meh, I already had one,
Yeah.
Whereas, if I'm making my brown rice noodle lasagna full of vegetables, girl, that pan has leftovers that don't sometimes make it to the next day because even though it's just brown rice and noodles and the vegetables, it's still on plan.
If you have more variety, you tend to eat more. Less variety, you eat less.
Yeah, so that's where the meh came out. I've never said meh in my life. And I said it like all week long. I was saying, I already had a potato. What do I want? I've only been averaging eating twice a day too, which I thought was interesting. I wasn't forcing myself to get 3 squares in, with the family. I think I got to have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I was up and I was having my water first thing, going out and working the yard. I was coming in about 11, and that's my first meal. And it's keeping me satisfied until, the second meal. Debbie, what would you suggest for our newbies?
Well, when I first started with the Mary's Mini, I think the thing that I ran into the first problem was I wasn't eating enough because I came from the school of restrict, make sure you don't overeat. So I remember, Mel, I was like ready to pass.
Oh, no, I do. And I had to give you crap.
You did. Yeah, you did.
I had a client like that. I just love her to pieces. And I said, girlfriend, you are not eating enough. She was doing salads for an entire meal. And then she was having salads with a small potato for her second meal.
No.
When she watches this back, she goes, she's talking.
But you don't want to be hungry. The goal is to not be hungry. And the goal is to make sure you have enough energy to get through your day as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fuel. And carbohydrates are the number 1 top choice.
Absolutely.
Just as on a side note, people that come to you and they say, I've got high sugar, I can't do potatoes, my blood sugar will go crazy. Well, I have an answer for that. They've been living the standard American diet that got them there. And whenever you have meat and potatoes on the plate at the same time, let's say that they're eating a burger. You got a bun, that's your starch. You got a burger, that's your grease and leftover muscle mass that does nothing for you. Your body can't burn protein. It can only burn fat or sugar. And so then you're eating this and it might have pickle and lettuce on it. Give them credit for that. Most of them don't. Okay, they'll toss this out. So you got this burger with the bun and you got the beef, right? Your body's going to go, I love starch as my favorite fuel, but I'm going to burn that fat because it's readily waiting for me to strike a match to it. So it burns the fat and stores the bun, the carbohydrate, which is a processed carbohydrate, and up goes the blood sugar. Okay. I have people come in that are quote unquote medically diagnosed. I'm a natural health practitioner, doctor of naturopathy, but they'll come in with their medical doctor diagnosis of diabetes, and they're told to eat lean chicken breast and vegetables, like a keto type thing. But they're still gaining weight and their blood sugars are still high. The lean chicken breast has nothing for them. There is it cannot burn protein. All right. Where did the animal get its protein anyways? It got it from the grass or the seeds or whatever that it was eating. Okay. Yeah. And so you're eating this mass of muscle to get to that little bit of grass in the cow, which is only 20%. If this was an illustration, 20% would be usable protein from the grass the cow ate. The rest of this is what I'm chasing out of the microscope for my career. All right. And so they're coming in, they're going, how is my blood sugars high and why am I still gaining weight? Well, here's this lean chicken breast, right? Little piece of lean chicken breast meat. No fat on it, so it doesn't have that to burn. No sugar on it, so that doesn't have anything to burn. So the body has to do something with this to make fuel. And its default is sugar. The body's going to burn all kinds of wasted healing energy to convert that mass into something that can be used. And up goes the blood sugar because it's overworking the benefit of health and recovery is going down where that sugar is going up. and they don't get it. As soon as we put them on a resistant starch potato, are you guys doing the thing where you cook the potatoes, put them in the fridge and then eat them? Are you doing that?
We do it a lot when we're doing a mini. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I did a demonstration, my video for just this last Wednesday, in fact, was showing how I took the cold potatoes out. And normally when you have a baked potato, you can go like this and squish it and it pops right open and fluffs with a fork. You know, you can just breathe on it and it'll just fall apart. Well, the same potato, cut it down the middle, could not get it to squish because now it's rubbery and firm because it's now converted to a resistant starch, which also has an added benefit of a potato protein to it. Right. And show them how to reuse that. So I tell all my people that have sugar issues that come into me that that's what they need to do. They have to cook all their potatoes, put them in the fridge, and then pull them out and smash them with the.
I agree 100% with that. And also too, it's kind of funny because Debbie, do you remember me saying to you how good cold potatoes are? Yeah. There's something, the taste, they just are like, I don't know, they're like the best. I love a leftover cold steamed potato. I don't know, it's just awesome. So maybe it goes hand in hand with that. I don't know, but yeah.
Your body needs it and appreciates it. That's for darn sure. But it's a slow energy release. So those are the perfect ones that I throw in my Ziploc bag and take in my purse.
Yep.
I don't carry, candy bars or, Cliff bars or any of that in my purse anymore. Yeah. I got potatoes in there,
Yeah.
So Debbie, how about you?
Sorry. About
what's your go-to for getting started and staying on track?
Oh yeah, just making sure you definitely eat enough. That is the number one. And condiments are a very good best friend.
Yes, yes. Your plates are really easy to identify because you love to smash your potato and you usually have a lot of frozen peas going on. And I go, oh, Debbie's eating again, So in fact, let's take a break here for a second. Let me switch over to the screen and let's go take a look on Facebook real quick and see your group and some of your posts and have you describe that for a few people. Let me see if I can get a screen up here. I can drag this down. And go here, go big or go home.
Yeah, we've actually been considering doing another mini here, probably, I'm not sure when, but in the near future. So we will announce that anyways as well.
Yeah.
So you get to me by going to the Starch Lady group. It's just facebook.com/groups/the Starch Lady. And then we've got all kinds of recipes and stuff going on there and motivation and stuff. So see, there's me right there before everyone on the planet can see my scale pics right there. You can tell the sun was up a little higher in the bathroom by the time I got there after working in the yard. It was about 11 o'clock for this one before I ate. This was in the morning, probably about 8 o'clock when I got up yesterday. So going over here to the groups, I want to change this group and you are... Tell me, Mary's Mini. Is it non-militant in the top? Or how's it go? No, that's not it. Oh, let me just go this way. It'd be easier. I can go over here and go Mary's Mini potato. Non-militant.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is their group page, and I want every single one of you listening, and I want you to join this. You've had it long enough that you can go in there and request a change to get this long thing off of here. And it'll just be Mary's non-militant or whatever you want to call it, Mary's Mini non-militant. And it takes all those extra codes off so people can find it easier. So here we go. I don't know if that will go down. If we need this to go away, it's going to stay there. Okay, so Mary's militant. All right, here, visit group. All right. Potatoes. Yes, ma'am, right there. All right. 332 members. My goodness gracious. And let's just scroll down here and see some of the goodies that come up on the posts. Oh, down 3.2 pounds. Who's this? Debbie, look at you. So you're doing the Mary's Mini right now, sweetie?
No, that was, I think, in March.
March. Okay, so that was March.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if I can get this to go bigger. Will it get rid of the side panel? I don't know why it's doing it that way. This one is like they picked rice as their go-to with looks like mustard or cheese sauce on it.
I think that was mustard.
And mustard. We found mustard on a salad is amazing. Can you imagine that?
Yep.
And then I did a squash with just vegetable broth, and it came out thick like the sauce, you know, like the cheese sauces. And I've been using that as a sauce this week. That looks great. I don't know what that purple stuff is. What is that? Cabbage, maybe?
Cabbage, steamed purple cabbage.
That's cabbage. Okay, that looks great. That was Debbie's.
Yes.
All right. And yeah, that's a Debbie plate. I don't have to look. Yes, I win.
That's definitely a Debbie plate.
I love
Mashed
the
potatoes and peas. Love the peas. That's almost a double starch. Does that ever cause an issue for you?
It is, but it really hasn't, I don't think. Hey, Debbie?
No, it's never been a problem with me. No.
Never been a problem. Okay.
No.
Well, you know, on the actual true starch solution, you'll hear Dr. McDougall all the time tell you that it's basically all starches and vegetables as a condiment on the side, you know, and then you get into the maximum weight loss and it's a 50-50 plate.
Yeah.
And then there's the Mary's Mini that is the way that we're doing it with the vegetables and the starch. It's kind of like that. But we're just picking one starch for our 50-50. Ooh, that looks good. Who's that one? Pam, okay. Zucchini. I love zucchini. Oh, that looks delightful. It's like a green bean potato soup.
Mm-hmm.
See, nobody goes hungry on this diet. Not at all. I mean, this is not even an option. If you're going hungry, you're doing it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Even at Dr. McDougall's retreats, if the buffet was open the whole time, but if you got hungry, you got to go back again. But the caveat was he wanted you to choose half starch, half vegetables. So if you wanted just a little bit more potatoes, you had to get an equal amount of vegetables to go with that little bit of potatoes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
You
what's
probably
that?
won't find anything from me for quite some time because it's been a while since I've done one.
On the Mary's Mini.
Yeah.
And do you have another page that you guys post your regular stuff? Do you have another group or just your personal page?
Nope, just the Facebook group there.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to jump in the next 2 months and go gun-ho with me on a mini, I'm here for you. So hash browns, we've been doing a lot of hash browns. We even take the instant mashed potatoes that are low fat and and all that stuff, some no added sugars and things. And we, instead of doing 2 cups of water to 1 cup of mashed potatoes, we do 1 to 1, which makes it kind of stiff. And we add a bunch of spices to it. I think you and I talked about this before, where we made it into wraps and rolls ups and things like that. You've done that too, right?
Those are in here somewhere. Oh, there's one. That's the simple. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yep.
That's simple. Was that Nucci on top, nutritional yeast on top?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that is super, that's Melanie's. Okay, that's super easy. I thought when I first started carrying those potatoes in my purse that I had to take barbecue sauce or ketchup or mustard or something in my purse too. I don't anymore. I absolutely love those cold potatoes the way they are.
Yep.
There's Debbie. Gotta be a Debbie.
Yeah,
I see it.
Yep, it is.
And what is that sauce on top? Tell me the sauce.
That's the potato, onion, carrot, cheese sauce. You mix it with nooch. Geez, what else is in there?
Onion, some garlic or something.
Yeah, garlic powder, onion powder, I think.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Turmeric.
Yes, turmeric. Thank you. Apple cider vinegar.
Okay. Oh yeah, give it a little bit of a kick. So that's the potato carrot one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. And that one, if you do it right, it firms up and you can almost slice it the next day. Yeah, I've done that and made grilled cheese out of that sucker. Potato cakes. Ooh, do tell me there's a recipe, because that's something I have not quite caught on to. Whose is this one? Any kind of a recipe down here?
Could be in the comments.
See if there's a recipe for. Did it give me comments? Let's see here. La 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 la. Oh, I love Rachel. She was a guest for us too.
Nice.
Her 10-minute plank. I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
But her doing those planks has kept her loose skin firm too. So
I bet. Yeah.
Now that my knee can handle getting down on the ground again, I'm going to start doing those again. Not seeing the recipe. We'll have to reach out here and say, Please post the recipe. What was her name?
Rachel.
That's not who posted it though, Tina.
Oh, it was Tina. Yeah.
Tina. That one.
There it is.
Ta-da,
Yeah.
ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Okay, all right. Note to self. This looks like a rice one. Yeah, simple. Look at that. It's rice, a little soy sauce, rice, a little sweet and sour sriracha or something going on there. Might have broccoli or something underneath. Who knows? Who's doing that one? Roxanne, rice, cauliflower rice, and sauerkraut. Oh, I love sauerkraut. I see it right there. I am obsessed. I will sometimes just take my salad, plop a little bit of sauerkraut on it, stir it, and call it good. I don't have to add anything, you know, with my potatoes in there. Rice, good. And just look at these options. I mean, like I said, there's nobody going to go hungry here. Keeping it simple. That's a cucumber on top of some more ice or something.
Yeah, the more extravagant posts are probably a little, you know, farther down, the more time consuming.
We're gonna zoom down and see what we
Yeah.
can find it down here, because you've had this site up for a couple of years, right?
I think it's been over a year, maybe a year and a half or so.
Yeah.
Okay. Ta-da.
Did we not post them on here, Debbie?
I think we did.
I think we did.
Yeah.
On my group up to the right, it'll show like recent foods up, but I'm only getting this over here for some reason. On my group, I can go up here and then right on this side, it shows food. So it's not doing it. So let's go back down here again. Ta-da. Okay, so got, this is back date wise, October of 21.
Okay, yeah, we're getting closer.
Love air fries. Love the air fries.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. I found the
And
frozen
that is so
vegetables are
good
the
and
bomb.
filling, like, and easy.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
that's that.
there's
There it is.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is that potato flatbread we were talking about, where you're taking the mashed potatoes, you turn it into like a pizza crust or a bread crust. It looks like you piled a bunch of herbs in that one. Divine. Hello.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
So
actually
good.
doing one a cooking class demo later today, if not today, tomorrow, where I was challenged in my group to, you know, but I have the same ingredients all the time. And so I'm doing 2 separate meals using the exact same ingredients. You can actually see the bowls, identical bowls of ingredients. And I'm turning one into a pizza, and I'm turning the other one into kind of like a skillet dish, you know, and it's going to taste different, look different, but it's the exact same ingredients down to the exact same measurements of spices.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the best thing
great
about
ideas.
potatoes too. They're so versatile, right? You can do anything,
Exactly.
really.
You can make them savory, you can make them sweet. I mean, there's just, it's, you know, for a dessert now. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Let me jump up here. Let me stop screening for a second. Let me get your opinion on this. So I am doing potatoes, and there's like how many varieties of potatoes, right? Okay. But if I need a dessert treat and I just can't take it anymore, my sweet potato, girl, a little cinnamon on that, and I think I'm eating pie. Is that okay or not recommended?
I would say in our group, I would say that's perfectly fine. If that's going to keep you going for the next however many days you need to get through, it's a potato. Like that's why we go with the non-militant thing, because we ain't trying to be perfect. We're just trying to get to the end goal. That's it.
Yeah. There you go.
Would I
don't
say
think it has to be every day, but you know,
right? Like I'm not going to say, oh,
thing,
you know what, you want your cheat, go have your burger and fries and then come back. No, it's not about that. It's about being realistic and helping the person get to the other side.
Yeah, progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
And I always tell my gals, you know, or guys, because we've got guys in the group too. If you have a bad meal, if you have a bad day, just jump right back in again. You know, that bad meal is
Don't
not
stay
the
down.
end. Yeah, this isn't, well, I guess it could be. I'd say this isn't like Alcoholics Anonymous, where one drink will send you into a binge. It actually is. food does have that connotation. I know it does for me.
Absolutely.
And the way my day went yesterday and how it ended, I was so, I don't think I've cried that hard in months, but being that down, we were going to go out to dinner for my belated Mother's Day present, and I just was going to eat whatever was on the menu. But little did I know, my son had my back.
Yeah.
He called. This is a restaurant, some people that he used to work with in another restaurant years ago, and they've stayed friends. And so he called ahead and said, hey, my mom's on this special diet. No meat, no dairy, no oil. What can you do for her? And they said, well, we can throw some vegetables in the smoker. That's not normal. That's not their normal menu thing. So they threw a jalapeno and the onions and tomatoes and the broccoli and stuff. They threw it all in the smoker to give me that experience and flavor. And it was so, like the onions were so firm, I had to use a steak knife to cut them, because it was still crunchy onion, And then they did me a baked potato and a sweet potato for my dessert, and a salad. And it was just like they went out of their way. Dry skillet, because there's no oil. So they did everything in the smoker for me so that they wouldn't have to have any oil off the grill. And it's like, yay. There's a Mexican restaurant just not too far from our house, the Maverick. They have fajitas. Well, fajitas come out swimming in grease, and the bell peppers and the onions and we get corn tortillas, but I order mine with no meat. And I said, I need no meat, but just the corn tortillas and the rice, because the beans had lard in them. So I just wanted the rice and just the bell peppers and onions. Well, the owner of the restaurant comes out, and I guess she's the chef too. She's got her cap on and everything. She kneels down beside me, bless her little heart, and she says, I'm going to take 30% off your bill because you're not eating any meat. So I'm just going to reduce that by 30%. And I said, no. Keep the 30, go in your kitchen and dig out any vegetable you got laying in there and throw it in there with my onions and bell peppers on a dry skillet, quote unquote. I want a dry, new cast iron skillet. She did. It came, oh my gosh, it was so big. We had to take the leftovers open. She brought out like 19 for the table. She brought out like 19 corn tortillas, the rice, and this pile of onions and bell peppers and broccoli and tomatoes and zucchini. I mean, if it was asparagus, it was all in it.
Making me
best,
hungry.
I know, right? Best fajitas ever. It is so good that I called ahead. I said, hey, this is Dr. Rowe. I would like to order the veggie fajitas. Oh, we remember you. And I go and I pick it up to go, and it's ready.
That's
exactly
awesome.
the way
I
that
love
I want.
that.
I'm the weirdo, but I think they should add it to the menu for weirdos like me.
Right?
It's delicious. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's ways to get around it. There is not a restaurant you can't take me to that I can't find something. And the worst thing is still when you order the baked potato, and the restaurants that roll it in the grease and the salt crystals, and then they bake it, and not eating the potato. And as I had one of my gals say, but that grease is still getting in the potato. I'm sure that's a lot less grease getting into the meat of the
absolutely.
than a vat of French fries dropped in the fryer,
Yeah.
So going to the movies, the theaters here in town, they, like, all of them have options of salad or something like that, but they'll have sweet potato fries on the menu, and that's a hard one to pass. Sweet potato, check. Deep fried, not check. But sometimes on that date night out, I'm gonna cave. My husband's gonna have his steak, and the worst thing I did all night was have my fries. But again, it's only when we go out. We're not bringing that crap into the house.
No.
I can't. I had to finally get it through my husband's head that I am an addict, just like an alcoholic.
Exactly.
If it's in the house, if you bring in the gluten-free double stuffed Oreo looking cookies from Glutino, I'm going to smell them. I'm going to find them, and they ain't going to be there tomorrow. So
that's why I always called my house like my safe place. It's my safe house.
Yeah.
Because if it's not here, you can't eat it.
Yeah.
True. And that's the biggie, Our technician lives with us, and he's gluten-free and he's plant-based, but he'll come in with cereal that looks absolutely amazing, but it's full of seeds and nuts and wheat. So, I mean, if it's got wheat, rye, or barley in it, I'm not going near it with a 10-foot pole, because one crumb and I'm not going to poop for 6 days. And that's just not pleasant. You know?
Yeah, you had mentioned that you have to avoid gluten. Do you want to, like, are you able to share with us
Sure.
like, why you can't have gluten?
So there are two kinds of gluten intolerances, kind of like there's two kinds of diabetics.
Right.
One, it would have been diagnosed from my mother, who had chronic diarrhea. Okay. We couldn't leave the house and go to church because she's going to get out to the driveway and it was just going to let loose and run down her leg. But we grew up very, very poor. We grew up on stale leftover bread that was being thrown out at the grocery store my uncle worked at. Instead of throwing it into the garbage can, he'd throw it into his car and bring it to our house. Powdered milk, so now you got dairy and now you've got gluten bread, processed bread. And that's what we grew up on. And so my mother had chronic diarrhea, and that has been changed, the names from chronic diarrhea, which doesn't sound pleasant. Now they call it irritable bowel syndrome or leaky gut, or, there's all these things that they've added trying to name it something else for the same problem that it is, a gluten intolerance. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we didn't know that then. We did not know that back then. Myself, my first memories, I'm 3 years old crying as I'm over my brother's shoulder being forced and drugged to the bathroom and told to sit there until I had a bowel movement. And I would sit there until my legs would go numb and I'd be crying and falling asleep off the toilet because I could not have a bowel movement. And it wasn't until 2003 when I actually was clinically diagnosed after a colonoscopy, which I will never recommend again.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay. I am currently treating 2 clients that had just a routine colonoscopy that they went through the colon, and now they have one of those ileoscopy pads on their leg for the rest of their life or until they can get it repaired. Pooping on the inside of their leg. That just sounds like more fun than I can handle. Anyways, never do it again. But that was before I knew anything about anything of anything. And mine is that one crumb, and I didn't know what it was. I just knew that I was only having a bowel movement once every 6 to 10 days.
Yeah.
And miserable the whole time. And when I was giving birth to these bowel movements, I was bleeding and crying like I was giving birth, and it was just dry and bad. So when I had this colonoscopy, the doctor came in, he says, "You have celiac disease." I go, "What's that?" He says, "You shouldn't be eating wheat, rye, or barley." He says, "Normally when we suspect somebody has that condition, you would want to go back and eat those things for like 4 days to see if the symptoms return, go off for 4 days, went away. If it went back on, it'd return. For you, I don't want you in the same room as gluten. I don't want you to get a crumb off your husband's crouton off of his lips. If he has a crouton on his salad, you can't kiss him for like 6 hours. You know what I mean? It's that, it was that distinct. And this came about because I had a friend of mine, who was reading a book, and it was discussing celiac disease. And she called me up and says, "I'm reading about you. These are your symptoms. You talk about this all the time." Right. And so when I go to like a party or a friend or family house or a restaurant, and they go, "Oh, but you have got to try. You have got to try." You're not seeing those pop-ups, are you? "You have got to try this cookie. It's the best cookie on the planet." I go, "Does it have wheat, rye, or barley?" "Oh yeah, but it's just one. Just eat a little bitty one." I go, "No, because I don't care how good it is. If I eat it, you're going to come home with me. You're going to sing me lullabies for the next week and rub my tummy in a clockwise position, even while I'm sleeping 24/7. And they're like going, "Yeah, no."
Yeah,
fine.
So with all of my clients, I've got, hundreds, thousands of clients everywhere. And whenever they tell me, "Oh, I have, chronic diarrhea, I have abdominal pain, I have constipation." And I start out and I'll say, "How do you poop?" "Oh, I poop just fine. Are we going to really talk about poop?" And it's like, how often are you pooping?" "Oh, once a day." "Okay, great. How long is it?" "Oh my God, are you asking me that question out loud?" I go, it's just you and me. man or woman. I need details. How big is it? Is it, and they're like going, oh, well, it's about this big. I go, okay, how thin is it? What? And then they're telling me if it's thin or if it's fat or whatever. I go, okay, you're not, that's not normal. Oh yeah, I always poop like that once a day, sometimes every 2 days, and, oh, well, that's bad. You should be pooping within an hour of every main meal that you have. And it should be in the quantity for what you ate like 2 days ago, because that's how long it takes to get through your colon, and turns into the stool, at least yesterday or the day before. So I've had people say, I can't eat salads. They go straight through me. I go, well, you'd be a medical phenomenon with a hole from your mouth to your poop chute for that to take place, because it has to go through the whole digestion. The crypts of the small intestines have to suck out the stuff to make blood, and the leftover fibers going down this way. It takes a while to do that. Mm-hmm. And depending on how tall you are, how tall are y'all?
5'5".
4'10".
5'5". 4'10". I want 4 feet 10 inches of poop out of you a day, and I want you to have 5'4". I want you to have 5 feet 4 inches, because your large intestine, where the stool resides, is the stool should be as long as you are tall coming out of that. So we're talking about 2 to 3 bowel movements a day after each meal, preferably. I seem to get a lot of mine more done. I'll do like my 2 poops in the morning when I first wake up, and usually maybe by lunchtime. But if you were to take that poop out of the toilet, I know this sounds like TMI, but it's not, I promise. And you took it out of the toilet and you laid it on the bathroom floor, I would want you to measure 5'4" and 4'10". I want to see it all. I want it to come out like a Dairy Queen soft serve. I don't know if you can see this, but up here, you see my top shelf on my bookcase over here? It's my poop collection that clients have sent me when they start having bowel movements. It started with one person sending me toilet paper earrings, and I put it on my shelf.
Oh my
and then
God.
Somebody else sent me a poop emoji. And then somebody knows I like to bake, healthy muffins, so they sent me a sheet of poop muffin holders. So when you pop the muffins out, it's little poop squirrels, So they're all up there. I have an outhouse. I have 2 outhouses up there. A little miniature toilet paper. But those are all gifts from clients that when they start pooping, they are empowered. And they say that the second brain is in your gut.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for just a second, just for your benefit and anybody who's listening to this. I am not a probiotic, prebiotic, enzyme fan, because we were created with all of the bacteria that we needed in our gut, which is below our belly button where it's supposed to stay. Okay. We actually have built-in organs that as a flap that keeps the colon from coming back up into your body. Okay. Mm-hmm. So here's your bacteria down here. About maybe 12, 14 years ago, you never even heard the word probiotic, prebiotic, or enzyme. But somebody in the scientific world said, more must be better. And there's this, bacteria, the good bacteria that breaks down stuff in your gut. Let's start making that in a bottle and selling it. So now you take and you get like the bottled kombuchas and the different probiotic drinks or pills, and it'll say on the bottle, it'll say, contains 7 billion live bacteria per serving. Have you seen that? Okay. Mm-hmm. So then they're drinking it. It's going in their tongue, down their throat, past their esophagus. It's getting into their stomach. And now from that stomach, after it's done its job there, it's going to go into the crypts of the small intestine and fall through those little fingerling holes straight into their bloodstream. Now we've got 7 billion little creatures that I can show you on the microscope if you want me to show you what that looks like. It looks like the blood. Okay, you see the blood. And in the background, it looks like a beehive got loose. And there's all these little bacteria just flying around like a bunch of fleas in the background. And I see that and I go, are you doing like prebiotics, probiotics, enzymes, kombucha, lots of live yogurt, stuff like that? Oh, yes, I love it. I poop so well. Okay. Does your brain and eyeballs like to have all those bugs floating around? Because that's where it's going. Once every 3 minutes, that beehive is circulating from head to toe with all those little bugs. living and dying as they go. And so I tell people, if you need a little bit of extra digestive, do it in the form of a food that's occasional, not kombucha every day. I've had clients that have substituted their fetish for sodas with kombucha. So they're getting so many billions of bacteria 2 and 3, 4 times a day. It's redonkulous. It's cray cray. So with that, I'll say, like with me, I'll get some sauerkraut out, and I make most of mine my own. I'll take a scoop of sauerkraut and stir it into my salad. So I've got basically 2 tablespoons of sauerkraut over this whole salad, and I'm having it maybe once a week or so. That's a little bit different way to get a little bit, not a lot of it, but I really try to avoid even the fermented foods. I'm very minimal on that because of what I see in this microscope. It's maybe stop eating a whole bunch of things, especially meat, dairy, and oil. So, and that's something too I can offer your group or anybody that's listening. I do a blood analysis in person if you're in Texas and San Antonio, because my microscope don't travel well. They're very expensive and they break super easy. But I do have a kit that I mail all over the world, and people, they watch my little YouTube video on how to poke their finger and tap it out onto glass. They let it dry, and then they stick it back in the little case, mail it back to me again. And I do a dry blood analysis for $75. And I get the blood, I take the images, I do a Zoom call, and we go over each image, and you're seeing it at the same time I'm seeing it, and identifying what's going on in the blood as far as dietary issues. I can tell people what they're eating just by looking at their blood. So there is no lying to me in my microscope. You might tell me you're doing the starch solution, but I can see that you've been eating some animals and some dairy. The crystals are different colors. If it's animal protein, it's usually a black crystals. Smoke and tobacco come in at black crystals too, but they're bigger. Dairy is turquoise. There is no other thing you could be eating that would give me turquoise colored crystals. And there's 0 crystals that belong in your blood. I should see the blood, and I should see the white blood cells and the plasma in the background. And that is it. So whenever I see these other crystals, like red means that there's an infection going on somewhere. Brown would be like gluten. Yellow would be like environmental toxins and things like that. Every crystal has an identifiable color. White is sugar. There's no hiding. And so they're like, oh, I've been so good. I haven't cheated. And boom, there it is. So if it's within 4 months, I'm sitting and they'll say, oh, I've been eating so good. And then they will see all this garbage. And I go, I did tell you that this is for like 4 months worth of blood that we're looking at, right? So we're still just coming out of the holidays. Oh, okay. Let me come back in 4 months. I'll see it again. You know what I mean? So that's something I can offer to y'all. I'd love to do that for you for free for YouTube, just because of your time. You've been so kind to me. And I would love to just mail you some kits and let you do that and let you see what that looks like, because that is motivation. Oh my gosh, when you see it with your eyes, it's kind of like the one guy that I had from the Overeaters Anonymous group burst into tears when he saw the damaged blood. He didn't get it. The next week when he came back and saw the improvement after just that 1 week difference, and he was just getting the proper hydration in. He hadn't even really started adhering all the way to the meals. To see how it improved in that 7 days, tears. I mean, he got it. It was like the light bulb turned on over his head and said, oh, it really does matter what we eat and drink. Right.
Sorry, I just need to run for a potty break.
Okay. Well, it's about time to close up, so we can wrap up here. Are you gonna come back? Okay, I'll talk to Debbie while you're gone. Okay. You want to? Okay. Got all that talk about poop.
Right? Time to run.
That's right. That's right. So tell me, what is something else that you would offer to our listeners? What would be your biggest inspiration that you could offer them?
Well, I've lost 75 pounds. So, I mean, weight loss alone is like, boom. You get so much energy too. Like,
it's kind of a side effect. We're getting healthy and the weight loss just happens. Yeah. So, and then the motivation, go ahead.
Yeah. And it gives you a new zest for life, really.
Yeah. I totally hear that. Now, do you live by yourself? You live by yourself now, right?
No, I live with a bunch of people.
Okay. So, but you're able to do your own cooking, or are you relying
Yes.
on what's in the refrigerator? Is there a lot of kitchen issues for you at all?
Yeah, because I have to share the kitchen with people that don't eat my way at all. They're the polar opposite of the way I eat.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
and at dinner time is kind of hard to get in there, but I'm patient, never ending patience, and I get in there, yeah. And they have their shelf of the fridge. I have my shelf of the fridge.
Okay.
It's all
That's
separate.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have your divisions. Any of that stuff that my technician brings home that might have gluten in it, for example, I cannot make a mistake of grabbing the wrong bag,
Yeah.
the wrong container. So we have a fridge in the garage. And so everything he brings in, because he tries really, really hard. And he's always so upset with himself when he sees that there's something on there that shouldn't have been there. And I just have to put it back in the bag and say, hey, run this out to the garage, throw it in the fridge out there. And when you need it, just grab it. Just make sure you put your pans in the dishwasher so that I don't touch anything that, you've been playing with. It's that severe. It really is.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about what her greatest motivation is, and the weight loss was number one, and feeling better. Did you guys have any significant health issues before that have corrected themselves?
I didn't.
I did.
You did?
Yeah. I used to have asthma, really bad psoriasis on my elbows and palms, and that's completely gone now.
Nice.
And my feet, I could show you some pictures of my feet that nobody really would ever want to see.
Yeah, to lay their face on. So my technician has that like an eczema kind of an issue thing, and his is triggered by gluten. And I can see it whenever I see him, because he also hangs out a lot with his son and his trainer, and they're really good friends. And so sometimes they're eating stuff that has gluten. He's plant-based, I would say 98%. He's plant-based, but he will get into some like regular noodles or things, or bread or something like that has gluten in it, and his skin will break out. And that's like, I can see it. He can't hide it. And I've got him going in to take care of our clients and taking care of their drinking systems. He's not allowed anywhere near anything, not even their countertop, without gloves on. Not that it's contagious, but it just doesn't look good. And I don't want anything to get, because his skin's cracking. I don't want him to get anything from their kitchen into his hand that they might have left around. I don't want their bacteria getting into him, vice versa. Like I said, it's not contagious. It just looks painful. And it's kind of like, you ready for this? I got into some poison ivy.
Oh no.
Isn't that attractive? Isn't that attractive?
Oh.
And I did not know, because, I've lived in the city for 29, well, my whole life. I'm going to be 61 next month. And I've always lived in Las Vegas or, cities, We lived in San Antonio for 29 years, and we just 6 months ago moved out here to the country. And, I've gone from city life to farmer's wife, So now I'm out on this, big honking, 54-inch, lawnmower with turns around in 360 and stuff. I'm blowing up all kinds of stuff. So I have to wear long sleeves. In fact, I've got a new outfit now. They're I think they're a fisherman's shirt, which I don't do fish either, but they're a hoodie that's lightweight and kind of a nylon material, like a swimming suit type material, and a hoodie. So it keeps anything from growing up on my back, flying up on my back. I've got the goggles, I got the face shield, I got the mask, so that I'm out there when I'm blowing up stuff on the tractor, I'm not making problems. But I've also noticed when I'm trimming trees and stuff, you think you're okay, and something will fly up and hit you in the face, and you just don't expect it. And so we have to be protected when we do that. And this has been nonsense. And I don't like to do drugs. I don't like to do medications. Chamomile, that pink stuff that takes away the itch, actually made it worse. It was horrible. But here's what I learned from the medical doctor that I finally took myself to last night, because I couldn't take it anymore. I was like grinding my teeth. It hurt so bad. The only thing that would stop the pain, because the calamine roasting, like I said, made it worse, was ice. You can scald your skin, but that damages your skin. But you can also take an ice pack, hold it on there for about 30 seconds, and the pain is gone, just gone. It tells the nerve endings, hey, what's that? Oh, I guess I better go send a bunch of blood flow there and make that warm again, because she just got cold on her arm. And so it distracts the body and the nerve endings stop screaming. And he was explaining to me, and I left it out on the counter, but there's this little word inside the poison ivy and the poison oak and the poison sumac that's out there, that one little drop, he said, if you took a drop and put it on the tip of a toothpick and got it on your skin, that oil, you have to wash it off immediately, because if you were to rub it, scratch it, wherever it went, it turns into this. So immediately the next thought is, if I ever think I've contacted something like that before, is I've got to drop everything, leave the tractor where it's sitting, run in and take a shower, change, and start all over again. So
I didn't have, speaking about like skin conditions and stuff like that, when you asked like if either of us had any like bad health problems before we started this, so I didn't have like a lot of these stories, you know, people say like I had diabetes, or I had, like Debbie had asthma, or I had heart problems. I didn't have any of those problems, but I do. So talking about like the skin conditions and stuff like that, I actually, do you know who Pam Popper is? Dr. Pam Popper. She is like she's a naturopathic doctor as well. I think she pretty much got her start by finding, or at least being introduced to Dr. McDougall. So I took her program back in 2020. And when I explained like some symptoms that I was having, it came back to gluten. And so gluten in someone who's sensitive, it's either a precursor or is a autoimmune response, or yes, I think that's the word I'm looking for. So skin conditions for someone like that, the first thing would be like dairy, and then gluten, the two main contributors to stuff like that. Yeah. So I actually have rosacea. Yeah. And rosacea, I was told by Pam Popper, was to cut out, so she called it brow. So the barley, rye, oats, and wheat. Now, if you get like the gluten-free oats, you're good. But all the other oats, like I think she said, is like 88% contaminated with wheat. The instant ones, you have to get almost like the Irish oats and the groats to. Yeah. So I totally understand like the skin condition part of it, because I even had like what caught my attention before even the rosacea thing was it I was breaking out in like small oval patches on my knees and just below my knees. And so she thinks that that could have been the beginning of psoriasis as well. So I am supposed to stay away from gluten, and I'm having a hard time with that. So hard, like I never thought that it would be this hard. Yeah, but it's in everything, and it tastes the best over gluten-free options, right? So they're getting better. They really have. Even Walmart has a decent section of gluten-free items that are mostly from England, and it's just some really good stuff. But let's talk about the gluten a little bit further. Gluten disrupts the memory. It gets into the brain, and it makes your memory recall worse. It will cause stiffness in the neck and shoulders, and it will totally screw up the thyroid. So that's 3 more reasons not to do gluten. Okay. Autoimmune diseases. I have a really easy way to explain an autoimmune disease. In the medical world, they'll tell you that an autoimmune disease is your body is attacking itself. That's not the case, even though it looks like that to anybody who's looking at it on screen. Let's say that we've got somebody who ate a bacon double cheeseburger. Let's say somebody that ate gluten, okay? The things that our body was not designed to break down. In fact, I don't care who you are. Every single person on the planet is allergic to wheat, rye, and barley. End of discussion. And for those that would argue that point, I would say, do yourself a favor,
go off of gluten 100% for the next 4 to 7 days and call me and tell me if you don't feel freaking amazingly better. Okay. And they'll immediately start going, oh, the brain fog's lifting. Oh my gosh, my neck, my tendon. And I didn't even tell them that was an issue. They're like, oh man, I had this like stiffness, it's gone. Their thyroid starts functioning better. They feel better and they're pooping. They're pooping. Salute. Okay. So let's go to the autoimmune portion of that. If somebody ate gluten or somebody ate meat, okay, or dairy, those are not our foods, but they went through our mouth, into our stomach, into the crypts of the small intestines and got where? Into our blood. And now that blood is going to make our tissue and organs. And your immune system says, oh my gosh, they've got a tissue up here, or their breast, their lungs, their whatever, their body, whatever it is about it, says there's a foreign protein. There is an animal in my human. It doesn't belong there. And so the immune system goes in trying to extract that gluten, extract that dairy, extract that meat out of that tissue. And the medical people see that, you know, under the microscope or whatever, and they go, oh, the body's attacking itself. You have an autoimmune disease. When we take the meat, the dairy, and the oil out of the diet, and that tissue is allowed to heal, the old cells die off, the new cells are formed, it doesn't have to go dig anything out of it anymore, but it'll keep digging at it until that tissue or organ is replaced. Do you see what I'm saying? So like I said, if it was maybe the liver that it was attacking, it's going to take 7, 14, or 28 months, depending on how healthy that liver was and how much damage was in there, how much protein from a foreign source of animal or dairy or gluten got into there. But the body will stop attacking itself. And I've seen this repeatedly with my clients. They're like going, I'm cured. I don't have autoimmune disease anymore. And I'm going, yay. I'm not allowed to say cured, but they are. Okay. As a naturopath, even though we were here with the Indians way before doing the herbs in the natural way, we're not allowed to say anything about cure because that is a patent or trademarked word for the medical community. And only they're allowed to use it if they refer to chemo and radiation as part of that.
But that's kind of funny because they don't cure anybody.
Right.
They have customers. That's about it.
Exactly. Well, it's kind of like the native Indians had it right. And if I had the money, I would do a study, but I'll tell you why I won't do a study here in a second. But beyond that is tobacco, marijuana, coffee beans, cocoa beans. For the indigenous people where these things grew, they ground them down, put them in mud and slapped them on my poison ivy. You know, external wound care, they are fantastic. The acid level of tobacco and marijuana and coffee and cocoa beans used in a poultice like that, spot on for skincare. Not so much for the internal use in the lungs or the stomach or anywhere else. It is not our food, okay? So the reason why I won't do a study, because in order to do an actual peer-reviewed study that would get into the journals of medical science, you have to have at least 2 control groups, one that's getting the protocol and one that's not. Now, I would have to hate all these not people and to be able to insist that whether they knew it or not, know that I was making them sicker day after day after day. And you've got to do these studies for 3 months, you know, I mean, depending on what we're doing, it's got to go for an extended period of time in order to make the journals. I can't do that to a group of people ethically.
Right.
And so my only job, the only thing that I can do is to educate, like we're doing here.
Exactly.
If anybody out there is listening, please, dear heaven, stop with the coffee, the marijuana, the tobacco, and the chocolate. It's not our food. And it's like I tell people all the time, oh, I can't live without my chocolate. They'll say that. And I'll say, okay, here's some cocoa beans. I want you to pop them in your mouth and eat them like M&Ms. You're crazy. Cocoa beans are some of the bitterest, most nasty, gag and maggot flavors you could ever want. The only reason they love chocolate is because the amount of dairy and sugar that has been added into that candy bar.
Yep.
That is it. but straight up cocoa beans, even the raw cocoa that you get at the health food store is enough to gag a man.
No.
You have to,
Yeah.
that's an acquired
Yeah.
taste. That's an acquired taste that only a sweet potato could cure, blended together, maybe, not worth it. It's just not worth it. But, and in those moments of weakness, that's one of the first things that we go to. It's the conditioning we had as a child. Oh, you got a boo-boo, here's a little chocolate kiss. Oh, here's a boo-boo, or here's a celebration, here's your chocolate cake, I mean, we've been doing that for so long to ourselves. And I have to stress, we have done this to ourselves. And because we've done it to ourselves, we can also undo this for ourselves. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's where this Mary's Mini is great. It is a mindset. I will be honest. It has taken me, I've been thinking about this for a couple of months, and I should have started this in January, but we were sick with COVID. It wasn't happening then, girls. I really wanted to do this. I wanted to look so damn good by the time we went to this 50-year reunion that everybody to double take and go, damn, he married up, But I got 2 months to look half decent getting out of that car, And he's gonna be gone for 6 of those weeks, and 6 of those 8 weeks. And so I want him to come home from the trip and go, hey, baby, who are you? But in order to do that, that means that I will be able to get up without having to do stuff for him or anybody else.
Yeah.
I can get up and I can go for my walk, and I can eat right the way that I want, and have my own sleep schedule where I'm getting a full 8 hours, or 7.5 at least, and stick to, I mean, if nothing else, if I'm gonna go off plan, it's gonna be something out of here, something that's of the regular program without, if I'm off plan, would you agree that when we're on Mary's Mini, our off plan is basically a starch solution?
Yep.
We're having a pasta or a rice meal.
Yep.
Ooh, we're still going to lose weight. We're still going to lose weight and get right back on the potatoes so we can go, meh, when we need to. But I was worried I was going to be sick of potatoes. Anybody got sick of potatoes yet? Debbie, potato day.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten sick of a potato?
Oh, yeah.
The last mini I did, I was just like, by the end of I think it was 9 or 10 days, I was just like, okay.
Oh, yeah, you were struggling. Yeah.
But I did the 100
that
days.
was on a 9 or 10 day. You didn't
It's
get
the
sick of them at the
mindset
100?
though, right? The mindset, because you were in a different mindset at that time.
True.
Yeah.
So, but you made it through the 100 days when you did that one without killing a potato. I understand, right?
Yep. That's
you
right.
survived that one. But is it because you had that 100-day goal set right here? You knew there was an end point, or did you start the 9 to 10 day and not know how long it was going to go, and you just couldn't go any further?
No, I think I set it for 10 days. Okay.
Which is the recommendation for a mini.
Yeah.
I could technically quit tomorrow. Tomorrow would be my 10th day, but I'm really hoping that I can just keep it on. And I think that's having you guys has been a bomb. Knowing that you're there if I needed to reach out in a text or your Facebook group, or go look for a recipe, and just looking at it today, it's like, oh, damn, I'm gonna put the shopping list. I'm adding frozen peas to my shopping list. I'm doing Debbie's version. I mean, that just sounds too good to me. So, and frozen vegetables, for those that are listening, are the second best to organic because they are picked at the prime of perfection. If you get frozen organic, that's even more bomb diddly. But think about it. All of those foods have been frozen. What did that do to them? It made them all resistant starches, because now you're pulling them out and reheating them. And that's why broccoli steamed is squishy, but broccoli out of the frozen bag is rubbery. Got me? So all of those frozen vegetables have now become a resistant starch for lower release into the bloodstream. So I am all about it. We went out and bought just a separate chest freezer just to throw that stuff in there. You're usually in there and grab out a bag of frozen this or that. And it has been amazing. I love the pepper, red bell pepper, onion. It's like a stir fry mix. That is like my favorite. It can go on anything,
Nice.
and stuff like that. But I don't want people to think that they can't afford to go to the farmer's market or the produce section and go only organic. They can get these frozen vegetables that are super cheap in super big bags, and they can throw them in their freezer. And
Yep.
you just have to cook them a little bit longer, just steam them a little bit longer. The cruciferous vegetables, if you're not aware, which there's 15 of them, and it's like broccoli and cauliflower and bok choy. And there's, if you look up cruciferous vegetables, you'll see a list of 15. Brussels sprouts. Those all have what is known as two things that you want to steam or blanch and throw that water in the garden. Do not drink it like pot liquor, like Chef AJ does with the leftover vegetable broth. We call it pot liquor, and put it in our thermos and drink it, you know, because the what you call it, the cruciferous vegetables, and they're named that because their blossom is cross-shaped, cruciferous, like crucifix. But those contain oxalic acids, which disrupt your ability to absorb like vitamin A and D. Okay, it decreases your absorption level, and natural goitrogens, which disrupt your thyroid. So if anybody wants to avoid any kind of damage to their thyroid with long-term use, you know, like I have hypothyroidism, so I make sure that I'm blanching mine. And what are all the frozen vegetables done before they put them in the freezer bag? They're all blanched. They're 100% all blanched, washed, clean, ready to go. So they've already been blanched. That's already been taken care of. I can just pull them out and use them. I don't have to think about it. Is that something new you hadn't heard before?
Yeah, for me.
Yeah, so good to know. So frozen peas are going on the list.
Yay.
All right, I know we're getting short on time here, and I've got to get Melanie freed up for her little guy to come home. So what else? What parting words of Mary's mini joy would you add to our conversation for the listeners that are going to be listening to this?
Yeah, I do have one thing. So it's a process when you're losing weight. Some people lose it faster than others. Everybody is different. And my one takeaway from doing a mini would be, do not touch the scale. Do not touch the scale until you are done.
Yes.
Completely done. Do not weigh in every day. Weigh in like the morning of your challenge, and then weigh in the day after your challenge again in the morning. And I would also recommend doing measurements, because the scale, we've kind of come to an agreement that the scale is a lying
Beyond.
So
it's a what? Oh, it's a lying.
It's a lying
okay.
beat.
It's a lying beat.
Yeah. And it's just not as accurate as we think that it should be mentally. And so if it gives you something that you don't want to see, you feel a little bit defeated. And so I always would measure and weigh yourself as well, but don't do it anytime during the challenge.
Right.
Always wait till you're done.
Yep.
There you go. And I think that's why I'm loving those waist beads that I got. I was telling you about earlier.
I
love these little things. And I mean, if I showed them to you, they're just adorable. And she put yellow, because yellow makes me giggle. And then she put tiger eye, which helps increase your metabolism. If you know anything about stones, okay. And then the other one is that stone that increases energy and reflects negativity. Okay. And so they're great stones. And so about every inch, there's an alternating of one of these stones around it, and they're small, but she did it on elastic. So I did mine at the rib cage because it was still about 38 inches. And if I get down to a 38-inch waist, I know I'm in the right direction, right?
Right.
So as I start to lose weight, that's going to start shifting down, or like right now it's tilted because my belly's still bigger than my back. And so that's been just this first 9 days, and seeing that going from level at the rib cage to being tipping in the back. And that tells me that I lost significant inches off of my back just in that 9 days. It could have been water weight, I don't know, but whatever it was, that swelling or whatever, it allowed that bead to change position. And so what you do is you measure where you want it to be, and you can do your waist, you can do whatever you want, but measure it. And she did it on a really strong elastic which makes it super easy. Now, the traditional African waist bead, and I've only seen it in the good connotation. There's always those naysayers out there that say it's something that it shouldn't be and blah, blah, blah. It's, you know, from the scary realm or something. I've not seen it in any of that. Everybody that I've ever seen has found it as a like wearing a necklace or a bracelet. It's just another ornament.
Right.
And it is beautiful, but it also gives you that incentive to lose weight. And that's what they're
For sure.
primarily used for.
Yeah.
And so, but in the tradition, they would actually tie them in knots that are not coming undone. They're going to be solid, super string. In fact, one lady makes them with like 5 strands of like carpet thread. They're so strong. Okay. They ain't going nowhere. Where this one, she did it with a super strong grade of elastic. So if she was measuring for me 38 inches, she probably pulled out at least 42 inches, threaded them, tied the knot, and hid the threads and cut it off. She probably hid about an inch of the thread and cut off the extra inch. And it's all in this perfect ring that I can slide on and off if I need to. Right now, they're comfortable enough that I've worn them 24/7 all week long, and I have had no problem sleeping with them or bathing in them or anything else. But if I wanted to slip them off, I could pull them up over my head or push them down or whatever, because they'll stretch. So that's an option as well.
That's cool.
So,
Yeah, I've never heard of those before. That's pretty neat.
yeah, you can make them out of anything. I have a friend in California, and she's got these 2 twins that she adopted that are, I can't remember which Indian tribe they're from, but they do an intuitive necklace. They have all these beads, and they just lay them all out on like the bed or wherever they're at. And they don't have a pattern. They let the beads kind of come to them. It's just the coolest thing I can just hear them just doing kind of like the motion and the feel and everything. And they build these necklaces, and they come out in the most beautiful patterns, and they're very small. And I have several of those necklaces. I was selling them in the clinic for a while, and now I'm just giving them away as gifts because I just love them. But I thought about maybe taking some of those and rethreading them on some elastic and using them that way too, because then I would have that intuitive, you know, gift that comes with the necklace in its exact form, but on a stretchy band that I could, I wouldn't change their pattern. I wouldn't change their pattern at all, because those beads came to them in the manner that they did, and the type of stone that came to them in that intuitive. So cool. I think I might try some of that and maybe make some gifts and give them to some of the people in my group, or, you know, something that way. So
nice.
Okay. Well, ladies, I have taken up way too much of your time, and this is going to be an extra long group video for me next week. I'll give them a little warning, because they can always watch the playback later in their own time scale. But I'm going to upload this to YouTube on my Health Natural Solutions page, and I'm going to send you all the link so that you can send it wherever you want. You can give it to new people right off the bat. You can post it on your group, put it on social media, wherever you need somebody to learn how to dive into a Mary's Mini and some of the other help tips and stuff that we've covered, you know, because I'm like, you know, that's where my mind goes all the time. And I hope I didn't monopolize that too much, but I want people to see that it's more than just eating the starch solution or the Mary's Mini, whichever starch they choose, and losing weight and feeling more healthy. I wanted them to see the blood so they can see why that is so important. That I tell people, my proof is in my microscope, and the results are in your mirror. You know what I mean? So this looks good, but if it's not healthy on the inside, you still got some things that need to be tweaked. So that is what is so beautiful about this. And one last you know, reminisce, when I first started this journey back in 2009, when they nearly killed me after a hysterectomy, and I had cancer, so that's why they did the hysterectomy. And then they found breast cancer, and I wasn't going to let them start mutating my breast that already almost killed me with the hysterectomy. So that was out of the question. So I started looking into ways to heal myself, and good old YouTube. It's like the Webster's Dictionary of life for anything. Right. Yeah. And I went out there and I said, how to cure cancer. And this one cancer specialist out of California kept popping up, and he was teaching alkaline lifestyles, which was just all plants and alkaline water, basically. And I jumped in full-fledged. That's how I lost that first 30 pounds. Okay. That's how I lost that first 30 pounds. But there was no white foods in there. So there was no potatoes, no rice, no beans, and definitely no white, tan, brown, yellow. So there was no meat, dairy, and oil, but there was also no, actually he let us have oil. But there was none of the starches. So I lost the weight. I got rid of the cancer. It blew my oncologist minds as well. And you can see that in this article right here, where the radiological report for my breast cancer says extremely scanned, no evidence, no evidence, normal breast tissue, no evidence, not identified in today's exam despite extensive scanning. 4 doctors, well, 2 technicians and 2 doctors came in to pulverize me and look for this stuff because they've been measuring it every 3 months for 18 months and it was getting bigger. And all of a sudden it was gone, just completely gone. And so the 4 people had to determine, and this is the head doctor saying where to go, you know? And, but the cancer went away, but I was tired and I was hungry all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I saw the starch, and that went on for many, many years, which also threw me into what we call storage mode. Okay. Storage mode, because, or starvation mode, because I wasn't getting enough calories. No matter how many salads I ate, no matter how many steamed vegetables I ate, I was averaging 400 to 800 calories a day.
Oh.
That is not enough food to sustain anyone's life.
No.
And so I was sick and tired all the time. And not sick and tired, but just hungry and tired all the time. I wasn't sick anymore, but I was tired. And so when I saw the starch solution year and a half ago, basically, it was before our trip last year. Okay. And in fact, it was our trip before last year, because a friend of mine and I were walking, and she was about 210 pounds and I was 250. Okay. And we started walking together. And then about a month in, I'd lost 17 pounds right off the bat. And she was going to keep doing it just to prove me wrong while I was gone on my trip. So I'm gone for 6 weeks. I get back 6 weeks later. She's meeting me up to walk. Well, she got there before I did, so she's already started walking. I passed her in the car. I drove right past her. I was looking for my girl with the thunder thighs rubbing against each other. I passed some skinny chick walking down there because she walked every day 5 to 7 miles and was eating basically starch solution, basically Mary's Mini. Okay. Mostly green beans and potatoes, things like that. I went right past her. This 210-pound woman, in a matter of about 6 months, got down to 108, right at the edge of her BMI, 207 or 107, which she got down to before she stopped, put her off the BMI. I said, okay, that's it. You know, I was telling her to quit at, 116, 120. I was going, you're pushing it. 116, I started getting nervous. 110, I'm actually calling colleagues going, help, I've got a girl who's like disappearing. And Dr. McDougall's group reassured me that she wasn't going to disappear. Her body was going to stop when it was ready to stop. And she got down to 107. And bless her heart, she did that with pure willpower and motivation. And, she was able to put a little bit back on, which we would expect, because that's not a realistic hold. But she is doing great. She's back on program again now, and being able to get to a weight that's more comfortable for her. But in just 6 weeks, that's why I'm so motivated about this reunion thing. If I can get it in 6, I could do it in 8. I just gotta go.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I just think that there's so much that we can do to help each other. We have to have this community. And when we have bad days like yesterday, I mean, you guys were my motivation to pick up my heels and just keep doing it. Because yesterday I wanted to give up and quit and take down my page and just call it quits, because who wants to learn nutrition from the fat chick? I get it. I totally get it, but if they were to take time to listen and pay attention to the journey, that know that this is the improved fat chick. So shut the hell up,
Right, exactly.
Yes.
And I had just said this to Debbie because she was not feeling in a good place because she's kind of gotten off track a little bit. And I said, but that's not what matters. What matters is we are Mary's Mini professionals and we know what we're doing. And if we want to lose it, by golly, we can lose it.
Absolutely.
And
We know how.
we take what we know and share it with others and they'll lose it too, you know? So,
Yeah, that's what we got to do. We just got to stick together and help them, find them where they're at, you know. And I have to be, you know, if I could do it wrong, anybody who walked into my clinic go, okay, you're not eating meat, dairy, or oil ever again. Call that quit. You're not, you know, smoking, you're not toking, and you're not drinking coffee or eating chocolate. I would just take it all away from it, and I would have an empty, quiet, cricket sounding, you know, office, because nobody would want to talk to me ever again. I can't do that. I want them to get there. But they got to do it on, they got to get there on their own, because we got to start here. And if I can just get dairy out of their life, they are amazed that the allergies are gone, the mucus, the constant booger nose and choking on their own saliva goes. You know, if I can take the, you know, oil out, they people have told me, I know they've told you, how do you cook without oil? And it's like, you know, it's so easy. 3 tablespoons of water, 3 tablespoons of vegetable broth, and you have got food on the table in a minute and a half, hotter and quicker than the microwave. You know what I mean? So we just have, it's just one person, one conversation at a time. And that's why I love these channels like this and being able to do this, hoping, praying that it meets more people, because I can't get to Canada without my passport being renewed. You know, it expired. I got to get a new one, but I'm coming to see you girls. I'm going to hang. We will plan something, but I will get my act together and we will do something.
Sounds great.
In the meantime, I have a daughter-in-law who lives, it's like my ex's new wife, my daughter's ex's new wife. She lives in, she's from Canada, and they have a house in Michigan, and they go back and forth between the two. So I could sneak, you know, stuff over the border with her. You didn't hear that up there on the Border Patrol. But I could get you water systems or whatever you need up there. We can make it happen and have you find a plumber on your side. Nice. So anyways, but we are here to help you. If you guys need anything at all from me, please call me. Go ahead and text me your mailing addresses, and I'll get one of those blood kits in the mail to you, because I want to do that for you and give something back to you, because you've given me so much, and including the motivation to do this 2-month Mary's Mini. So.
Thank you.
Okay, any last parting words for our fellow friends, fans, and associates?
Potato on.
Oh yeah.
1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, right? 4. Okay, let's do that. So you start with 1, you go for 2, and I'll go 3. Go ahead. 1 potato.
2 potato. More.
I'm loving it. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Love you. And let's be in touch again soon. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
You bet.
Bye.